Today I'm going to be building the best LEGO Clone Wars MOC that I can in 7 days. Like and subscribe, or else. I'm planning on making the MOC a huge battle, so I better get my clone droid armies together. A while ago, I bought these commando helmets from Clone Army Customs, and then I finished the commandos with my own minifig collection. I based one off Commando Gregor and the other one off Seb. This other one is a Shadow Commando, and this one is a 332nd Commando. Now it's time to get started on the rest of the troops. I'm going to be using a mix of all my Phase 2 troops for this MOC. The second group I worked on was a Desert Squad. I gave one of them a cape and dual shotguns, and I gave this one this sick ripped cape and a backpack with a flamethrower as a weapon. I just gave the others some capes and then started on my next squad, which were my 501st troops. I already had changed these guys quite a bit, so I just gave them some cool weapons and a few capes. Next I have the Sarf Trooper, which I gave these cloths and a gun. Then I finished up the rest of the guys by adding just accessories. I think I've got a pretty solid clone army now, so next I rebuilt up my droid army and I decked them out pretty nicely. After this I got 4 32x32 plates for the MOC, so it isn't too big to the point where I can't add a lot of detail, but not too small to the point where it's lame. I wanted to put some water coming in on the corner of the MOC and the droids attacking in the direction of the water, with the clones defending their base in the back of the MOC. So with my plan laid out and my armies made, I decided to end my building for the day and move on to day 2. The plan for day 2 was to start on the water and the beach. This took way longer than expected though, because I decided to put all the studs down instead of pouring them on the base plate loosely like I do in most of my other MOCs. I stacked the studs too high, which made it take even longer, and my mom advised that I place a few rows of loose studs in the water to resemble waves, and I think it looked really good. On day 3, I started on the beach and I wanted to have an explosion with LED lights, so I started to wire them into the MOC. This was so freaking hard because I have lights that have studs on the top so they can go on ceilings, but this meant I had to put them in upside down under the flame pieces, and it was just annoying trying to figure it out. I ended up wrapping the wires around the LEDs to hold them all in place, and that worked like a charm, so I built up the fire section. I put plates on the ends of translucent bars to resemble the ground coming off in the explosion. I also used cones and studs to do this by gradually bending them as I built them up so it looked like the ground was flying off at all different angles. After that, I worked on the beach area around the fire, and I gotta say the fire looks really good. That was all I did for that day, so let's head over to day 4. It had already been 3 days and I hadn't gotten much work done, so I decided I was going to get a lot of work done today. I worked a ton on the sand area. I added different layers to make the landscape slope up away from the water. The next part I worked on was a small hill where I planned to build a small clone outpost. I incorporated tan and dark bluish gray slopes to make a deserty feeling hill. I made a little staircase that looked like it was carved into the rocks, and I think it turned out pretty nicely. I topped off the hill with some platforms, and I was happy with the progress I made for day 4, so I went to bed. The plan for day 5 was to finish the terrain. I was running out of tan pieces, so I decided to make a dark tan area where a village would be. I made this area leveled down from the rest of the MOC, so it looked like the sand had been cleared in order for the village to be built on the darker rock beneath the surface. I built a little staircase and built some of the dark tan higher up and made it fade into the brighter colored desert above. Later on that day, I started to work on small huts for the villages. I built up these poles and added some red decorations that looked like they were put up by the villagers. I tried to use these 2 ladders and make a cool roof design, but it really didn't look that good, and after that, I wrapped up the building for day 5. On day 6, I immediately started on the village, and I had a lot of work to do if I wanted to finish this MOC in 1 week. My new plan for the roofs was to use a net and to attach brown pieces to them. I really liked the way this turned out, and it kind of reminded me of a fishing village, and since there's water in the MOC, I decided to make it an alien fishing village. I built up another little hut using the same design and started to add some buckets and barrels as well as minifigures to make the MOC come alive. The next thing I did was add a couple of red flags to give the build some more color. The flags looked really good, so I added a little barricade in one of the houses for a clone trooper and a villager with a spear to hide behind. I added some different colored fish into one of the barrels and made the barricade much better. After adding a few more boxes, I realized that the village was not really futuristic looking in the slightest, so I scattered around a bunch of mechanical parts. Unfortunately, that was all I did for day 6, which meant I had a lot of work to do tomorrow. To start off the final day of this challenge, I incorporated some chains and strung them into the nets of one of the huts, and it looked really good. I put these weird dark tan round pieces into the village for jars and then added some ropes going from both of the huts. I hung some buckets from the ropes, and after that I decided I needed something in the far corner of the MOC, so I settled on making a satellite tower. I actually based it off a similar tower that me and my brother made on the very first MOC I ever posted on this channel. I didn't have much time to work on it, so it wasn't as detailed as I would have liked, but it really got the job done for filling in the space, and it looked pretty darn good. The next thing I worked on were some barricades, which I put in front of the satellite tower. Then I added 2 clone troopers battling behind the barricades along with a frightened villager taking shelter. The plan was to now start on the clone outpost. I put some bars going across the middle of the walls for detail, and I designed this pretty cool door which I placed on the wall using headlight bricks. I then finished up the walls. I added upside down 2x2 slope pieces to the top and used this L-shaped piece with pegs and G-slopes to make the upward slope towards the roof look congruent all the way around the building. Now I worked on the interior by adding tiles to the floor and copying the door I used on the front for the inside. I finished tiling off the floor and added the clone trooper running towards the door to join the fight and 2 others to scout discussing battle plans. The next step was to begin building the roof, and I just had to add some LED lights into this building, and they made the interior look so clean. Before I finished the roof, I detailed the shore with these smooth, round 2x2 plates and put them upside down all over the beach. I started to put the minifigures on the MOC as well. As I placed the droids and clones down, the MOC really started to come together. I even added some villagers who were joining the fight with spears. The battle I envisioned was now becoming reality, and I just loved the way it was turning out. I put a droid with a jetpack being blasted out of the sky and another one flying in from over the water. After adding a few more clones, I finished up the roof of the outpost and put a sniper on the top who was getting ready to take out some droids. At this point, I had been working for hours to get the MOC done in 7 days, and I had to get some sleep. So with that, the challenge was done. Just kidding, I still had to make a border, so I actually did that the next day. I was so tired the night of day 7 that I couldn't finish the border and didn't really consider it part of the MOC, so I just finished it the next day. So there you have it, I built the best Clone Wars Star Wars MOC that I could in 7 days. These are some nice shots of the completed MOC for y'all. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and please make sure to like and subscribe. If you watched this far into the video, thanks so much. I put a lot of work into it. Have a marvelous rest of your day.